Hello everyone and welcome back to the Spearhead cast. With me Matt. We have a big one today. Where before we fought on the map Brody on the Eastern Front. Let's go through the players. Representing the Germans today, we have Whitey White playing as the Waffen-SS with Panzerjäger tactics. We have Blind Guy. I believe that's Blind Guy. Yeah, Blind Guy. Playing as the Waffen-SS without a commander choice yet. You have Crazy Man NL as the Wehrmacht without a commander choice. And finally, we have Chewy the Dog, going straight out the gate with Panzer Tactics for the Waffen-SS. Representing the Soviet Union today, you have Smokey with Motorstrelki. Sir History Buff without anything yet. Aeljo's 303 as Shock Division. And Commando Section, also Shock Division. Double Shock, that's really potent late game. We'll have to see how the battle turns out. Brody is a pretty big 4v4 map, but there's like a wide area here you cannot pass through, so... most of the fighting is going to be along this narrow... well, it's not really a narrow stretch, but this stretch here, I think. The Germans are pushing up pretty far aggressively early on with some Storm Pioneers. Ooh, that's a pretty harsh thing to say. Well, I suppose it kind of makes sense. Current circumstances, but these Germans are not Ukrainians. I guess he's just trying to fit into this current Russian stereotype or something with regarding the war in Ukraine, but that's not what you were here for. You're here for some Spearhead World War II action. Soviets are going to push you up here. I don't think the conscripts are going to last long against Storm Pioneers, though, depending on the cover. The Storm Pioneers are out in the open, and as they suffer losses, they will lose a lot of their firepower. And more Soviet forces are coming onto the battlefield, and the Soviets can get a lot of field presence going very quickly. More Storm Pioneers are coming up here. So no command choice for them, and we are seeing some Storm Grenadiers starting to arrive here for Whitey White. As well as some Fox Grenadiers. Looks like we have a command choice, by the way. Looks like it is Strafdivision for the Wehrmacht. Okay, so we have a lot of various elements on the German side so far. Those sappers are probably going to get mowed down here in the open. They managed to get a grenade off, though. Well, more and more Soviets arriving here. He also has some Fontovika around some actual trained troops. I'll definitely do a lot better than the conscripts will. You know, the Soviets also pushing up here with more conscripts. Pushing back against the Storm Pioneers, throwing a Molotov. Ooh, and that Storm Pioneer might dead. Yeah, that's a dead Storm Pioneer. You know, they have some Storm Grenadiers up there. They will seem like they have a command choice here. That was Panzer, let's see. They have Panzerjäger, Graf, still nothing from Blind Guy, and Panzer. So a very good choice for late game. Soviets, let's see if they picked everything. Motor, nothing there. Shock and Shock. So still, the people have not picked their stuff yet. I guess they're waiting for late game to decide what they need. Ooh, Wehrmacht able to stop them thanks to the Kuhlwagen and the buildings here. Ooh, building almost goes down. But the Soviets keep arriving here en masse. Lots of Russian troops are pushing through. The Soviets so far are taking quite a presence on the battlefield. Germans haven't even been able to capture these 2 points yet. Several Fox Grenadiers are present here for the Wehrmacht. We also got some Strafttruppen arriving soon to supplement the forces. With some penal troops, basically. And the Kuhlwagen is trying to take care of these conscripts. Got an AT grenade going out. Misses though. Fontoviki arriving on the battlefield as well, and more Fontoviki coming up behind. The more professional Soviet troops are arriving to supplement the front line. Some being given a marksman rifle. Storm Pioneers down though. So that's a big loss for the Germans. They do have an MG-34 arriving, however. Plus an Aufklar for the Wehrmacht on the flank here to help provide some view. Or some sidelines. MG-34 sitting up. And so far the Germans are ensuring this fuel point will not get in Russian hands, I mean. But this fuel point up here will also be in German hands. So the Russians gonna need to try and make a breakthrough somewhere again if they want to get fuel. Another 80 grenade going out. Ooh, dazing the crew and killing the gunner. Soviets need to get more troops out here. We are seeing shock troopers arriving now for the Soviet Union. This shock trooper is being equipped with some cheaper PPSHs with drum magazines. Probably gonna get another weapon after that as well. Shock troopers are pretty damn good troops, by the way, like some of the better troops of the Soviets. Also very costly, generally. Although these aren't full-on shock troopers, I think these are... Yeah, the 330, which is still pretty costly. The ones that cost 400 here from the Special Rifle Command, though, are really damn good. Like, it's probably some of the best infantry in the game for assaulting. And we are seeing a shock cam going up here, so the Russians are going to operate near the front line. Which shock, very good at doing, by the way. More machine guns are arriving for the Germans to cover the front line. Several MT-34s. Ooh, great assault there from the Storm Pioneers, but doesn't look like it hits anything. Maxim is trying to move back. MT-42 here for the Wehrmacht. Manned by some penal troops. Volksgrenadiers are moving up to the front line.
We can now call upon our supply reserves of
But I think the Russians are going to have a hard time breaking through now. SVTs have been handed out to the conscripts. The Kubelwagen finally went down somewhere by the sounds of it. No, that was actually an armored car by the motor Strelki. Probably hit a mine. Very cheeky. Oh, there might have been an Ace-Tank Panzerfaust there. Yeah, that was probably what it was, looking at it. That's the problem with the big 4v4 maps. It's hard to keep an eye on everything that goes on. But the Germans are trying to cover every angle that the Russians could try and break through. That's going to make it very hard for the Soviets to make it any way of getting through. Like, these shock troopers will not get far that the MG-34 suppresses them. Motor Strelki are on the field though. That's actually... where are they reinforcing from? Huh. No idea. Because they tried to push up here, but they realized there's an MG. Which immediately stops them. Falling back to their forward camp, so they don't have to retreat very far. Meanwhile, the Russians are trying to dig in the center here. And still no commander choice from the history buff. They're just getting a lot of mortars though, which will be able to supplement the Soviet front line against the Germans. We have a command choice from the last Waffen-SS player? We do not, okay. Still one player on each side has not picked a commander yet. Germans are trying to dig into the front line rapidly. Kubelwagen's pushing up, that's pretty aggressive. British placement is being enabled. There's also a small AT gun. And by some shock troopers by the looks of it. Ooh, pillbox trying to be established. Pretty risky position to do that. Mortar starting to hit too. Smoke grenade is going out to try and obscure it though. And some Volksgrenadiers pushing up with the Flammenwerfer. But the Duschke position is able to fire. Main assault going out though. Ooh, machine gun gets killed. I figured Germans might have to abandon that pillbox. Yeah, pillbox is down. Yeah, the shock troopers are preparing to push up here. Opening fire on the Germans with the PPSHs and DPMs shortly. They also have SVTs by the looks of it. So that's a lot of firepower on these shock troopers. Germans are also digging in down here. Lots of digging in here. Ooh, mortar hits the Kubelwagen, killing it. We also have an MT-34 inside this trench. Soviet mortars probably have to start shelling the German front line, I think. But both sides have dug in heavily. I guess we're gonna have a prolonged static fighting position today. Once the Soviets can get some tanks, artillery, they can probably start working. You already see they have started using their CIS guns as artillery pieces. Just need to get rid of the machine guns. That forward camp is definitely working out for the shock army up here. More bunkers being set up here by the conscripts.
Tank ready for orders.
Maxim is starting to shoot into the German area. It looks like it's just ground firing. Motorized units are covering the other flank. And we also have a fort in Cam being set up here by the Motor Strelki. Well, the motorized company. More bunkers enabled as well. Pillbox is a little bit more safer now. Behind the points. But the mortars are still landing. One building being set aflame. Well, the shock troopers having a long-range engagement with the Sturm Grenadier. Which they should lose due to the marksman rifles. And the heavy cover. This gun is trying to provide some kind of artillery support though. But I think the Soviets need more artillery. We do see a crowd mower, which is a good choice early on. Because I don't think the Waffen-SS on the north flank have any AT prepared. Oh, we have a T-70 in the center here. Wehrmacht has no AT at the front line yet. They do have a Pack 40 coming up. Also have a commando bunker in the back.
Frontier building has been lost.
Barbed wire has been established here. Not sure what for, but I guess it'll try and provide some kind of help. Not much happening on the other flank. But I think the crowd mower might soon make its appearance up here. Yeah, there it goes. I think that's what the Soviets need to break through. Yeah, just starting to cut through the Sturm Grenadiers at range. As you can see. It looks like the T-70 goes down because the Pack arrived, I think. No, someone... Oh, yeah, the Pack is down there. Okay. Pillbox is desperately trying to be repaired. And maybe the crowd mower is just slowly cutting through the Sturm Grenadiers. We also have some Panzer Grenadiers for the SS Panzer. Some Sturmgewehrs. And another Pack arriving. But the Russians could always smoke in this area and then charge. Kubica has been enabled as well for the Germans. They're really trying to keep the Russians at bay here. Man, that's a lot of mortars from history buff. They probably go Soviet artillery if they're gonna intend on providing so much artillery for their allies. Have a command ship from the other Waffen-SS. No, that's not. Oh, wait. Is that propaganda? That is propaganda, okay. So we only have the Soviet player that needs to pick something. Doctors are falling back to the forward HQ again. The crowd mower is still just slowly cutting through. Has to reload every now and then though. So it's still on the other flank here. And dug up a lot of sandbags. We have an MG-34 100 rounds in the pillbox here by some grenadiers. Generally a good upgrade. And the mortar shells keep landing around. All the mortars. Body armor is being handed out to the weapon teams, which is a unique thing you can do with your shock army as the Soviets. Pretty good upgrade. The mortar shells just keep landing in the German controlled areas. We do have a command F1 arriving. Oh, we have the Volksgrenadiers doing an assault here. Using the smoke to obscure them. Once the smoke clears though.
We are suffering losses.
Kubitak got set off by the mortars. We also have a Beutepanzer here for the Panzerjägers, which I don't think makes that much sense on the Eastern Front, but who am I to say? I don't know what they had on the Eastern Front in that kind of weaponry class. MG-34 to run here for the Panzer Division for the Waffen-SS. Which could be the opening that the Soviets were needing, and yes, it's time to charge. Need to act quick though. Yeah, I'm trying to charge through out in the open though. Now on the open road, that body armor is not gonna help much. Especially against the kind of weapons they're fighting. That is a lot of mortars from Sir History buff, but it seems like to be all he's getting. Like, it's a good choice when the enemy's digging in. Like, why wouldn't you do that? The Soviets have some pretty good artillery options after all. The Cis guns keep bombing as well. Was that the AT gun got cleared out somewhere? Or they pulled it back for... Yeah, they pulled it back for replenishment. Okay. I really have a hard time keeping an eye on everything. More shock troopers in the rear here for the other Soviets. And more conscripts are being prepared here now by Smokey, probably preparing for a mass charge in the front line. They're massing some conscripts. The artillery keeps landing. Ooh, we also have an MG34 on the Straftrooper now. They have to pull back. And the Grenadier inside the pillbox is definitely doing a good job keeping the Soviets at bay. You know, the mortars are scattered all across the front line, and we have 3 T-70s being prepared. Wonder what they intend to do with those. But the mortars are definitely harrying the German front lines. That's good to see. We do have a heavy mortar now arriving for the German Wehrmacht, but it's moving quite close to the front. It doesn't need to be that close. And they notice and they relocate again.
The new Grenadier squad is ready.
They're setting up back here by the looks of it. I would probably suggest it being counter barrage mode just early on because of all the shells they're dealing with. And too late, the Germans managed to get defenses up again. Prevent the Soviets from doing a successful push there. Artillery shots are going in from the scissors though. You just need to keep shelling the German positions. At some point something will hit, I guess, and it is very cheap for them to do for the most part. They have lost a lot of their munitions, but that's probably because they're expending it all at the moment. They need more munitions points. The 70s goes down because of the packs.
We have a forward structure under attack.
Pack is doing a pretty decent job here. Grenadiers probably need to get replenished. Boy, the Panzer and F8 Stuk on the field here. Ooh, smoke going, very nice. Gonna try and obscure the front line. It's also been loaded with high explosives, that's a good choice. Take out one mortar. And heavy mortars also shelling in. Ooh, heavy mortar lands right around there too. That's is almost taken care of. See, that's just why the F8 is pretty decent actually. By having access to the high explosive shells. Oh, good merge with the conscripts. That's a very good way of keeping the front line going, and now it's out of control, so that's Stuk is dead. Very nice job there from Smokey with the merge. Like, very clutch. Well, the Soviets are still having quite a long firefight up here with more SVTs sent out to the conscripts. You're also seeing T-34s being prepared. Probably a good decision. And the scissors maintain the bombardment. Haven't had the most luck though. Artillery going in from the Germans, not doing too much. I do feel Sir History Buff needs to pick a commander to supplement his allies a bit more. Ooh, good shot with the Cis hitting right inside the trench. And the German front line is continuously getting shelled, but we do a lot of Sturm Grenadiers back here. Armed with some Sturmgewehrs, which is pretty powerful. You have an M-Char arriving here for the Soviets. Several conscripts are going to back it up. I assume the motor Spilky will also move out to support it. Oh, wir haben Beutepanzer T-44 for the Strafdivision. Activating false flag, which doesn't seem to be working correctly. Well, didn't really hit anything there. I think it's using shrapnel shells? Or high explosive shells? Doesn't really look like it's... Well, I guess it did something. Incendiary shell going in the Soviet positions. I think the Soviets are preparing for a push up here, getting a third T-34. I don't think the Germans have enough to stop them. They also lost one of their positions, thanks to the scissors. Lots of artillery shells are still landing around the front line. MTS pushing up here. F8 got a good shot. That takes out the F8. And we had all the Sturmgrenadiers on the flank here with the Sturmgewehrs. Pack is relocating to try and deal with the MCHA. And the Beutepanzer Sherman as well, but I think the MCHA is realizing, so it's pulling back. Ooh. Beutepanzer Sherman took a shot. Katusha is being prepared by one of the Soviet players. Yeah, well, the German heavy mortars done a good work so far. Trying to deal with the Soviet mortars.
One of our emplacements is under attack.
Yeah, well, I think the Soviets are preparing for a big push here. Well, the Germans have even pulled back the pack. So I think if the T-34s rush in after the next barrage, they could probably overrun this position. What's this is being pulled up to the front as well as a field gun. That might actually be full. That might be a small AT gun actually. T-3045 is also being prepared. Artillery being called in on the Russian forward position here at the front line. Lancers are prepared for another push.
We have lost the mortar crew.
T-34s are amassed. Oh, the Russians are losing some stuff in the frontal center though. The Beutepanzer T-34 is definitely helping out the Strafdivision. We also have a howitzer set up here. Working counter barrage. We also have lots of orders for the Waffen SS to help with counter barraging. This is turning into a pretty big and wide Eastern Front battle. Katusha opening fire. Doesn't look like it hit that much. Oof. Pack is returned up there. Well, they have an Aufklar to probably scout ahead first. That makes sense. The Aufklar can also coordinate, so that's definitely a worthwhile choice. Yeah, they're launching a flare. If the flare would not bug out, it sometimes does.
We have a fresh half-track at our disposal.
More mortars arriving for the Soviet Union. Still no command choice from Sir History buff. Beutepanzer is still doing a lot of work there. Second artillery piece being set up by the Strafdivision. Help support their other allies. Jagdpanzer being prepared. And both sides have just dug in heavily here. So the Beutepanzer is using high explosive shells. Frontline flares are going in. This gun is probably aiming around the pack. And that's definitely what it's aiming for, I think. I'd like to see that both the sides are using their tools at the moment. But the howitzers are just ending all the Soviet attempts at artillery dominance now. Unless the Soviets can get some kind of counter artillery going. Mthis are still not ready. Ooh, wide artillery going up on the northern flank. Doesn't look like it did that much. Now the Germans know there might be a push up here soon. We also have a Flam half track coming out. There's not a lot of 80 in the center at the moment to stop it. So if this breaks through, that could be a lot of issues for the Soviet infantry. Oh, they lost one of its gunners though. Ah, the Dushka is still penetrating it. Right. Makes sense.
The enemy is trying to destroy a structure.
But Germans are still trying to push up here.
We have lost the
Using the Beuterpanzer quite efficiently. But we do have the 85 coming up. And 85 could probably chew through the 76 version. Just needs to target it. Need to do one more shot. Oh, yeah, it bounced both though. And the Soviets are preparing for a tank push up here. T-34s on the roll. Germans are trying to lay telemines. They realize what's coming. They managed to get the telemine up. But at the cost of their lives. Pack hits the half truck. Panzer F1 is also trying to stop the T-34s. One lost its gunner. And lost its gun as well. Well, the fight in the southern flank, we have a lot more Konskis being prepared. And the Katyusha is moving up ready to fire again. But the Russians are losing a lot of territory in the center here. Ooh, we have a Goliath. Getting very close to the Soviet front line. That's gonna be a big boom. Yeah. Ooh, really good there from the Germans. But I think, yeah, the Soviets are gonna make a push here with the M chests. The Konskis have been prepared for the push. They can take out that pack. Pack explosive are loaded. Pack cleared. They do have a Jagdpanzer though. And that Jagdpanzer will be very hard for the M chest to chew through. One M chest down. They are throwing Molotovs into the trenches though. Oh boy. The Soviets have to pull back again. Beuterpanzer got decrew, but the Germans are repairing it. More T-34s also being prepared. We also have a major now arriving for the shock army. Above all the shock troopers. Germans still don't actually have a lot to hold here. They do have that telemine though. More packs are arriving, however. The Soviet front line is starting to take some pretty heavy shots. Probably thanks to the artillery superiority of the German army at the moment, thanks to the Straf Division. Also think so history buff really needs to pick a commander, but I don't know what they're planning.
I am waiting.
Probably should start sneaking with the recon squads rather than just moving up to the front line like that. I guess they're running still. So they're still trying to do their best. Sounds like a Panzerwerfer. Yeah, Panzerwerfer for the Germans. Getting some big shots in, but doesn't actually do a lot of damage by the looks of it.
Combat unit ready.
Soviet armored convoy still waiting for the next time to move. And Cis guns are raining shells down on the German position still. One house standing being set aflame. Probably aiming to take out the packs. Kinda makes sense. Gotta go live here for the German army. The Soviets are lacking in stuff to stop the Goliaths. Well, I guess this one can, if it hits, we've missed. Ooh, it's getting close. Yeah, the Soviets realize it, so they're moving up something that can counter it. You know it's there. And that's one taken out. There's another one on the other flank, though. You're sending Goliaths against tanks, unless you're very close, does not really work. We also have a forward HQ here for the Soviet shock army. And the Katyusha has relocated northwards, probably planning for a coordinated barrage up here to open up for the armored column. There's also an SG-76 apparently. Black Panther slowly trying to creep up. Loading a high explosive, she'll probably aim for that sis. Under shot. But still killed most of them. We do have a Brumba arriving as well though. The Brumba is going to be able to break through the Soviet front line, I feel. Like that. So the Katyusha is firing on the door. No, that was the Panzer Rifle. But we have a big armored push going in from the Soviet Union up here. Let's see if it'll work out. They need the infantry behind to back it up, though. They will ran one pack. The German front line is being overrun up here. Some Volkswagen Panzerjägers have arrived as well. Mthis are pushing in. They lost one MSHA though. They also have the SU-76, but it's not been loaded with high explosives. And the Soviet infantry were not behind, but they are coming up now. They need the infantry to be behind a lot sooner, I feel. The Soviets are breaking through here. Half-track is the tiller mine.
We are suffering vehicle losses.
Grenade going into the building. We have a Panzer IV arriving. Ammo rack on the Panzer IV, so I think the Soviets have lost this engagement up here. One shock troopers being killed. Like a good attempt from the Soviets, but I think that if the infantry had ridden their tanks, it would probably have worked too, because remember you can ride the T-3476, which really means you can do an actual tank rush with the troops on it. Not really utilized enough, I feel, but it's a really good thing to do actually. Just because it gives you some more firepower as you drive through the enemy and prevents the enemy from doing the cheeky stuff with the Panzerfausts. Well, the rest of the front line is still holding, but I think the Germans might take the opportunity now to push. Especially with the Panzer Force on the field here and not a Beuter Panzer. These guns are still trying to do their best to try and suppress the German advance, but it's not going to work, I feel. Black Panzers are present to hold the front line. And the Brumba is slowly just creeping its way up, blowing apart the Soviet front line here. Red Air Force is flying overhead. T-34 on T-34 action. Inky. Who's going to win that engagement? Who's the first landed here? Looks like the Beuter Panzer won out. The Soviets have set up a mortar howitzer door for counter barraging, and that might slowly start to work out. Because the Soviet howitzer is pretty high caliber. If they took a shot there from a bazooka, I think. I think that effort has to pull back. They're being called in by the Capitan of the Shock Army. You already seen the preliminary, what's it called, targeting shells. You also have a tiger tank present now here for the Waffen-SS. With the Panzer Ace thing, because they're playing as Waffen-SS Panzer. They probably use the Kampfkraft to get a veteran free immediately. French down thanks to the Soviet officer. And lots of shells still landing. The Soviets are slowly being pushed back, and I think the Soviet howitzers are being targeted by the German howitzers. Which is slowly just ensuring that the Germans are winning this fight. The Soviets really needed that push up there to succeed. Katyusha's opening fire again. Hitting one of the German howitzers but doesn't kill it. Katyusha has to move immediately because counter barrage shells are gonna be coming in very fast. And we'll have a German tank push up here. Tiger tank and Panzer Force. That Tiger tank is realizing this might not be the best move. The red shock troopers moving up, but artillery is landing from the Panzerwerfers. Tiger took a big penetrating shot though. We also have some SS veterans moving alongside. Ooh, the Soviets are suffering a lot here. They did force the Tiger to back off for a bit. We also have a T-34-76 preparing to move up here again. More engines preparing on the other flank. Ooh, but the Soviets, I think, are just slowly losing ground here. The Germans keep advancing. We got too much artillery support going on. When the howitzers just keep hitting as well. Oh. And we also have Sir History Buff has not picked the commander yet either, which is really showing. I think that's really hurting the Soviet battle line. T-34-85s have been prepared. Just need to be utilized. I think they need them at the northern flank. Yeah, the Soviets have ordered a full retreat from there. I think the 85s need to head up there before it's too late. The Soviet howitzer remains on its duty of counter-barraging. Come on, 85s, you need to get going. The Boider Panzers are getting very close to the Soviet front line. Looks like they're finally moving. The 5 should definitely do a lot of work here. Panzer 4J moving around as well. But 85s are very, very close. One Boider Panzer down. J down. Don't underestimate the 85. The 85 has a pretty good gun. But we have double veterans of 3 Tigers coming from the northern flank. I think the Germans are going all out here to try and end this. I think the Soviets know there's a hidden tank there. Oh, that's not good. 185 down due to that close proximity. Second howitzer has been set up by the Soviets though. Meanwhile, we also have a push here from the Stuks on the Soviet flank. More rockets landing in. Boider Panzer down there finally. But the Soviets are just slowly being pushed back here as artillery and rockets land continuously. the Tiger tanks are just present and overseeing that northern front line. I don't think the Soviets can match them frontally at the moment. Oh yeah, the Soviets are just suffering at this point. They don't have the resources. But we do have a big armored force coming up here. They might be aiming to try and take out the heavy German tanks if they can. Oh, but the Tiger's gonna get a good shot here. And one shot's all it takes. And the Germans are building up fortifications behind it. And the Mthis are not going to do much, I feel, unless they get some kind of support against these armored behemoths. We also have a command panther arriving as well to oversee the front line for the Germans. Guess that's what the Katyusha is going to be for. Red Air Force flying overhead again. And Katyusha opening fire. It immobilized the T-34, but that's about it. And the Mthis is doing a big frontal push here. There's too many tank wrecks in the way. Yes, just too much there for the Soviets to handle. The German howitzers keep landing with their shells. As you can see, the howitzers are taking up a lot of upkeep alongside the Brumbar, so he doesn't actually have a lot of impetus to support his allies with. It's up to the other German players to kind of do the pushing. Like, artillery is pretty expensive on your upkeep. As it should be, because artillery can really make a big difference. The fate is also slowly creeping up here. That Soviet house is working overtime. I don't think it's actually helping out that much simply because of the sheer amount of German artillery. What are the Soviets going to do? They have another 85. And so history still hasn't picked anything. I really think that's a detriment to the Soviet front line at the moment. They've still fought bravely despite everything. Ooh boy, the Panzer's going to flank. We have some Fonsoviki intercepting. Going the exhaust. And then we have a bazooka shot from the Motostrelki. Oh, Udon finishing it off. Ooh, the howitzers are actively in the front line. That's not good. It's been cleared. The more rockets are landing. The Soviet front line is completely collapsing. More rockets are landing in. This is a rain of steel. Fighter Panzer trying to push up here. Mthis is waiting in a good ambush position. Fighter Panzer taken out. The Germans keep advancing. They're doing a big Panzer march here. The Soviets just don't have what they need. Like, it was a brave attempt by the Soviet Union, but I just think it's not gonna work here. There's a KV-2 has arrived. Okay, I did not expect a KV-2. It's not really the best option in the late game just because of their armor value against Tigers, but it does do a big boom. I will not deny that. if it can hit. The problem is the Tigers will just shoot straight through its armor. Ooh, Tigers pushing up though. The KV-2 needs to be very cautious here. 85 is in trouble. The Roomba and the Panzer 48 keeps pushing up here too. KV-2 is turning its gun. Tiger notices and pulls back. You don't want to brawl. You don't want to get shot by a KV-2 shell. Hits the hill though. Katyusha barrage in the center here, weakening some of the German tanks, but it's not enough. Another T-34 arriving for the Soviets. But I think the Soviets are running out of options. Panzer is leading the way. KV-2 mobilizes it, making it an easy target for the 85. The 85 is with AP shells. Let's take some weird. No penetration. Gets a penetration on the 85. That's not good. I think the Tigers can probably safely push up at this point. It's just a lack of equipment now from the Soviet Union to stop them. The Tigers are starting to make their push. Man Panthers all in the center. But the Germans are pushing up now. They've even calling the Estonian SS. Their unique battle group available to SS Panzer. For rockets landing. Main gun lost on the Tiger. Thanks to the brave word one squad, but KV-2 is down to the other Tiger. White Panzers leading the way into the Soviet base area. But the Russians have tried to fortify it the best they can. I think the Soviets have to just plan for like a tactical retreat from this area. I think this offensive has kind of failed. Fallen flat on their face. We even have a howitzer shells that are landing inside the Russian base now from the Russian howitzers, now manned by Germans. I guess it's mostly just a holding action while the rest of the Soviet army retreats at this point. Germans are still being cautious as they advance up somehow. Ooh, not looking good here at all. But the Soviets are still trying to fight. They definitely have the tenacity I don't have, that's for sure. There's just too much fire coming in on them. Doctor was trying to get a grenade off. Didn't do anything. Followed by a... That's probably a smoke grenade. No, that's a frag grenade, which also does nothing, obviously. Now Germans are just surrounding the Soviet base. Like, there's no reason you can't surrender at this point. It's over. They've lost the battle, but they're still attempting, so that's cute, I guess. But at this point, there's nothing you can do. The Germans are in your face. And the Soviets are just getting completely wrecked. Ooh. There's honestly not much to see at this point. We can speed it up. Like, the Soviets really just not gonna surrender. I guess not. I guess the Soviets just want to die, fight to the end and die. Katyusha's still going to kill most of the Estonians by the looks of it. And the Soviets really fighting until the end. Wow. They really are. Holy shit.
Our headquarters is taking enemy.
And there they go. Okay. Well, this was quite a battle. I'll see you on the next one, everyone. Bye bye.